Hi, everybody, and thank you for coming. This is Educating Geeks. This is a podcast where we help geeks discover new passions. And today, as you can tell, we're recording live from Phoenix Comic-Con in 228A. So thank you for coming.
Should we pretend I'll be live from Phoenix Comic-Con, and then you guys make as much noise as we can, or as you can?
No.
Should
For
we
the
do
non-existent
it? Okay,
podcast.
let's go. Live from Phoenix Comic-Con! Yeah!
Great. Thanks for coming, guys.
Okay, we're gonna layer that, right? So it sounds like 300
it's gonna
people.
sound. I'm gonna make it sound like there's tons of people in here.
So the other thing,
let's
with
introduce
us tonight
ourselves.
is Alice.
Sarah.
Megan.
And Dan.
And Dan is joining us as a guest Geek Host educator because none of the regular hosts have ever seen Babylon 5. Gas!
Yeah.
Gas!
Yeah,
None
it's
of us have seen
definitely a big blind spot for all of us. So we had to bring in our guest. So thank you very much for helping us out, Dan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. So one of the things we usually start out with is asking why you didn't watch it or why you did watch it.
Yeah.
So I obviously didn't watch it, and I was trying to figure out why that was. And the season 1 was 93. I had to look it up on the internet because I didn't know. So Next Gen was ending,
And
right?
Deep
so it
Space
ended,
Nine was just
1994
coming on.
Started. So I was probably spending more time watching that. Briscoe County Jr. was on at the time.
Oh, that was such a good show.
We should do that.
I love that show.
I'll put it on the list.
Awesome.
Don't ask Bruce Campbell when that's coming back on. I got a big F you. He comes in here and a straight out point out in the crowd in Philadelphia.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah, he did it
That's
with
too
a smile
bad.
on his face. But
Well, he's Bruce. He's always got a smile.
And then also X-Files was on then
yeah.
as well. So I think I was just occupied with other things, and all the times I think I ever flashed by it, it just didn't catch me enough for me to commit to it and stick with it.
I don't know why I didn't watch it. I was old enough. I was already watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I loved Star Trek: The Next Generation. I watched Deep Space Nine. I was super excited that there was another Star Trek spinoff, and I was in that target demographic. It's just one of those things I've missed somehow. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I think I was just too busy watching other things like Alice. I was watching all the things that Alice was talking about, Star Trek, X-Files, more Star Trek, Star Wars when I put the tape in.
Dan, did you watch it as it was airing?
I did off and on. The big problem why a lot of people didn't watch it was because Deep Space Nine was out on this space station all alone, and the thing with
It's
Babylon
a similar
5,
concept.
everybody just assumes it's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely not. It actually has a lot of emotion. It's got some feeling. It's a lot more interesting than Deep Space Nine was. And I sat in front of the TV the first night Deep Space Nine was on, and I was just in awe of the opening. And then I switched back over, and there was actually more going on Babylon 5.
Did they start at exactly the same time?
Roughly. I think Deep Space Nine came out just before.
Did it start in 93-ish?
Deep Space Nine was 93, and I think
93,
94 was closer to Babylon 5.
Yeah, according to IMDb's, it's 94 to 98.
Yeah, and back from Philadelphia where I was watching it, they were on 2 separate channels. So you had Fox that had Deep Space Nine, and then you had PHL 17, which is the WB, and then I don't know what they are now.
That was my next question, was what channel it aired on. We don't have Cassie here to tell us.
She's our, which one, what was it?
It was syndicated?
Okay.
PTEN.
I don't
Okay.
know what you're talking about. How would I have that? PTEN? What the hell was that?
Oh yeah, we had it. There used to be a channel called PT. I think here it was PTN. I remember
In Phoenix?
PTN. Yeah.
I don't remember that channel.
In Phoenix, it was UTP.
UPN.
Yeah.
Is it UPN?
UPN.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. It was
Also
UPN one.
PTEN, which is some experimental thing Warner Brothers did. I don't know.
Craziness.
Before
I didn't have it.
PTEN was the syndicator that had been set up to distribute Babylon 5 and a number of other cities.
Okay.
So it wasn't its own network, it was a distributor?
It was a distributor.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
The guy wearing the Babylon 5 hat has all the
knows.
answers.
We got another chair.
Can I say
Let's
it?
go,
Can I
Alice.
say it?
Can you say what?
And the name of the place is Babylon 5. Okay, I just had to get it out of my system.
I heard that 22 too many times.
I was talking with Megan about this earlier, that the beginning does kind of come off like
I hate the
Voyage.
opening. I'm sorry.
it's-
so much. Does it change in season 2?
No, well, Bruce Boxleitner does the opening. They change it slightly, yeah.
Slightly, okay.
So they're not all coming around the corner. They're coming.
Yeah, it's not like Galaxy Quest.
Yeah,
It's
that's
where
it.
he's sneaking around and looking around the corner. It comes off campy in the first season. They kind of get a little bit more serious in the second season opener.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, just from the finale, it seems like they were taking it in slightly a different direction.
Yeah, the
So-
first season they were doing a lot of backstory and trying to plan out the rest of the series. And you get little hints throughout the first
Yeah.
part of the season, which draws you in if you're paying attention.
Well, and that's something that we've talked about before.
Sorry.
We'll get there. But that's something that we've talked about before is that often a show is spending its first season trying to figure out what it is. And yeah.
And now
it's
if you don't
fitting.
do it in the first 3 episodes, you're canceled.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
screwed, yeah.
Yeah. Did you? So I asked you this before we got started again. So if you get it on like Amazon Prime now, it comes with. Was episode 0 ever shown?
I think it was unaired.
So it was an unaired. It comes with the unaired pilot, so you can watch the unaired pilot if you want to. And when I watched the
No, it's
It
on
was
my
aired.
IMDb.
so it was aired. Non-boomer.
I just called her not boomer.
the
Like,
not boomer actress.
my tweet was, "What's Boomer doing in CIC?" Oh wait, this isn't BSG. This is B5.
But I liked her.
You liked her?
She is one of my favorite
Oh.
characters. She, I don't know, I felt like she, as an actress, was the most comfortable in that role
I'm like, what?
than some of the other actors.
Look at my
Yeah.
notes. Not Boomer dash acting lessons. I was like,
I hated her too. Oh my god.
That could be said for a lot of the little guest stars that popped up, but she had a decent storyline though. And
She's in it just for the one time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then,
I looked that up.
and then the character is the Russian woman.
Ivanova takes over as the
Ivanova
second in
takes over.
command.
And the thing I have to say about
Oh.
Ivanova is quit
That's
messing with the freaking hair. Just leave it in the ponytail and let her have it be in the ponytail. Oh my god. You don't need to
That's what
soften
you took
her
out
up
of
by
that?
giving her like luscious curls and crap.
Well, that was the softening up was kind of one of the frustrating things.
Okay, that's fine.
Straczynski, I guess, the network came back to Straczynski with not Boomer and was like, you need to feminize her. You need to make her, a 90s version of feminine.
Wait, no,
and that's
no.
why she was all like,
Did she get badges on?
size. And then
Inside joke. Sorry.
when they finished it, like the major complaint of her was she's not like military. She's not believable as a military officer, which was super frustrating because he was told, "Oh, you need to soften her up, badgicize her."
Yeah.
And that was why I know that the episode 0 came in the year before Babylon 5 because I looked up and I was like, if I'm gonna have to watch this woman for 22 episodes,
Yeah, forget about it.
I'm
Kill
just
me now.
gonna-
Yeah.
Okay, so I got confused because I thought we were talking about a different character.
Oh.
So I was talking
I
about
was
someone else.
Yeah, I was on. Yeah.
What character do you think you're talking
I thought we were talking about the commander's girlfriend.
oh,
She's awesome.
No,
She's okay.
She's all right.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Not the girlfriend in the pilot. Carolyn.
No, a different one. Yeah.
No.
No. And how many of the main characters can have somebody come from the past who they're romantically involved with? And
Picard did it all the time.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
true.
definitely a drinking rule.
Ooh,
For sure.
that is a good drinking rule. Okay.
Did you write it down?
No.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Well, we've talked about it. We won't forget it.
Okay.
So yeah, actually, I did not get a chance to watch that unaired pilot. So
So you don't know who.
I'll have to go back and,
So we're
and
the only
watch
two
it.
that watched it because
Yeah.
it was on your Kindle.
You
It's on my
asked.
Kindle.
You asked for us to watch it. It just didn't happen.
And in the overlying story arc, I see how it was important. Like if you're gonna get into it and you're gonna get into like not even just the season arc, the series arc, it does play into it. They've referenced it.
So did you go ahead and watch the other episodes?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
I was so done by the time I was done with my assignment that I didn't want to watch anymore.
How far did you get into it?
We just watched
Season
season
one.
one.
So yeah, we've
Yeah.
all seen.
And
two
a
seasons.
lot of Babylon 5 lovers, which I know there are a slew of them, really encourage. They keep telling me, wait,
Yeah.
wait. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better.
Yeah, and I was hoping that I could just avoid just sludging through the ones because the standalone episodes I did not like. I just
There were a lot of them.
and they were most of them, but the ones, and I could tell when they were part of that
Actually
arc.
trying to do the
I was
arc,
so
yeah.
engaged. I was, like watching while I was working, and I was like looking over. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, I have to go back to work. I would get really distracted. The other episodes, I just worked right through, just kind of in the back of my head.
Yeah, I started having a little bit. Not every episode, but there were a handful of them that I just ended up working through and not paying as much attention as I should have.
So my sister Liza has what she calls it Monster of the Week versus Cancer Man. She was an X-Files, an X-Files watcher, and she preferred actually the Monster of the Week episodes that were one-off versus the Cancer Man, which was the overall story.
Well, and some of those are some of the
towards the
best
end of
ones.
X-Files, that's when it all kind of
Gets together.
gets centered. The Monster of the Week was fantastic. But
Yeah.
Although I have El Chupacabra, that's all I have to say.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Okay, we're tangent.
I'll do X-Files some other time. Cassie,
So what were some of everyone's favorite characters? So we all know we hated
I want to know Dan's
not
favorite
Boomer.
character first.
Yeah.
you know what? It's I keep going back and forth over this, and it was I like Malari. Because one, I'm a fan of the monsters. I know I'm a fan of the monsters, and you remind me of Grandpa Munster all the time. And it's
Okay, yeah, I could say
Yeah.
that.
That's on my notes. Guy with
it's-
hair, accent.
Guy with
Dracula. Because his hair looks like it's like like the Nosferatu Dracula, his cape,
Yeah.
and then he has that ridiculous accent. So that's he's Dracula.
I mean, he was a source of comic relief. There was always
That's
a
true.
back and forth between him and pretty much everybody. He was either trying to buy something from someone, kill somebody, or save his own ass.
Yeah.
And there was always something mixed up with there, and he was amusing. I enjoyed watching him.
And that
Everybody else was just kind of a stick in the mud at times.
I was
Yeah.
told that
I
his
like-
character develops really interestingly too.
Yeah.
That's what we heard. Yeah, I mean, I found all of the ambassadors way more interesting than any of the crew members. So him and Delenn and
Delenn is
even
my
Kosh
favorite, I
even-
think.
Yeah, Delenn's my
Yeah.
favorite as well for sure.
Well, and I thought Kosh was really interesting, and I kept waiting for there to be an episode about Kosh, because when you start going through, it's like, okay, there's an episode about every single character as you get going, and I was like, okay, when is Kosh's episode going to happen? And it never happened.
I'm really bad at names. Which one was Kosh?
He's like,
He's
you don't
the
know what
thing
he
in
looks
the
like.
case.
He's in
Okay,
that
So
big...
the unaired
in the
pilot,
encounter
he's the
suit.
one that they.
And
in
I'm
the
assuming
encounter suit.
that we're going to
Very good
find out
setup.
more about him, but I don't know anything about him, and I want to know more about him. I think it's really, like, my impression, or at least my first impression, which I may be wrong about, I got the impression he's, like, made out of light, which I thought was,
I
like,
know what
a
you're talking
really...
about.
I don't think I had a favorite character. I think I had a
Least favorite character?
not least favorite character.
And not least favorite character. We got to hear this one. Not least favorite character.
I did not connect with this show at all. So I just really disliked everybody. I think I liked the commander. He was fine.
Really?
What I like about
pissed me
him
off a
is
lot.
that he's always like, okay, if you're going to throw the rule book at me, I'm going to read the whole rule book and find the ones that you don't know about and then throw it right back in your face.
Let's talk about enforcing rules. I have a very long list of like egregious violations that he overlooked. And some of them were the things that the ambassadors did, like when Delenn, when the guy in the encounter suit, when she first encountered him and saw who he was, or no, it was somebody, I can't remember who. In one of the very first episodes, she like grabs somebody's gun and points it at the guy that was gonna like
The soul hunter guy.
Yes,
yes,
the
the
soul
soul
hunter.
hunter. She like
Yeah.
freaks out, grabs somebody's
Well, he was
gun,
freaky. I
and was
pointed
like gonna
that
like
out.
shoot him, and like just overlook.
She's an ambassador.
That-
That's
Yeah,
diplomatic
that's
immunity.
diplomatic immunity. Yeah, that
Yeah.
comes up multiple
And that
times.
was that, and I was talking to Hans about it last night. He's like, "Well, there are ambassadors. There is such a thing as diplomatic immunity." I'm like, "Okay, well, what about like when Garibaldi like decked that guy for making fun of Mars?
Oh, but Garibaldi is the
He's the head of
He's the
security.
chief
Who's going to lock
security
him up?
officer, yeah.
The commander should." Or then there was a reporter that was like, like trying to be one of the earlier episodes, trying to be all like, I'm gonna get the scoop, and he's like,
Oh,
you
I
need,
remember
like he
that.
threatened her. He's like, you need to get off my bridge, and then he ignored her. Like, and then she was like, "Oh, I see my life is in danger from this other thing, and I'm gonna leave." He he is so full of not even empty threats. Like when he does threaten, they're completely empty. Other times he just looks the other way.
Wow.
Oh, that's gonna be my
Wow.
suggestion for the drinking game. I have a list. Like,
Well, we all do.
I've worked in offices where that was policy, though.
Oh yeah, that's policy
If
everywhere.
you pissed off the boss, he would
Yeah.
either ignore you or you were in a lot of trouble.
yeah, nobody ever got in trouble though.
Okay, so
So my not least favorite character would have been Ivanova.
Ivanova.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she was her whole thing against Psychor. I get it. Like that makes for interesting story.
Well, you've only
But
seen
her
the first.
reaction was just so. It just was so.
But she's
campy
Russian.
and cheesy.
But she's
Well,
Russian.
but
Okay,
it was a very cheesy. Season 1.
Season 1 was very.
They're still
cheesy.
feeling
It's
out the
very
characters.
cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
One
sure.
thing I did like about her
You liked
specifically.
something? What? Wait, what was that?
Yeah, I
Sarah?
did. I'm trying to be
Say that
positive.
again.
I'm not going to crap
Say
all
it
over
very
the show
loudly
because I
into
know
the
that I am in
microphone.
a room full of fans of it. Like nobody wants to go. I fucking hate this show. I'm going to go to that panel. So I'm trying to, try to find the things that I liked. I did love how they treated different cultures and her being Russian and they conjugated her last name. In a lot of Slavic countries, there is a last name, but
Wait.
not everybody has the same last name.
So you didn't actually
You're-
like.
So you're getting excited about linguistics right now?
Yeah,
Is that
totally.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. If she were a man, her last name would be Ivanov. But because she's a woman, they gave her the name Ivanova, which is actually what would have happened if she, were in Russia.
So
Another thing I liked was that they were really true to her heritage.
Thank
that,
you.
Her uncle came to sit Shiva.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was, I like that episode.
Nobody would have ever come to sit Shiva on Star Trek. They just kind of, didn't even really acknowledge a lot of Earth religions.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked how they had, different.
Are you talking about in Star Trek they didn't acknowledge the religions? Or
Not a lot of Earth religions. They would talk about the ones that they would explore on the other planets, but not, nobody really knew. Nobody was a Jew, or they didn't have,
everyone's religion was Starfleet.
yeah.
There
How about
was
you,
no
Mary?
religion. There was Starfleet. Actually, Ivanova was my favorite character.
Okay.
And kind of what I liked about her was I felt like she had really ridiculous dialogue, but somehow the actress made it awesome. Every time she had to deliver these lines. I remember in the pilot, she had this line she was talking to Winters when she first came in. She's like, "What do you want? I've got 15 things to do, and all of them are annoying." And it was the worst line ever. And it was such an understatement too, because I don't even remember what was happening. It was somebody had been murdered, and they were investigating some massive thing, and 15 things to do, and all of them are annoying. I'm like, murder is annoying. but she had a way of taking this dialogue that I thought was subpar or could have been really bad. And she kind of turned it around and really made it a part of her character. And there were multiple episodes where she would say something, I was like, wow, she really did a good job delivering those lines.
She didn't have a lot to work with.
She did it. I mean, I feel it's one of those things they're getting their footing and they're figuring out their writing style, and I think she found a way to make it work for her character, which was awesome. And I really like her. I really liked her attitude. She sticks to her guns, and she's just kind of in your face, but in kind of an awesome way. Even when Dan and I were talking about it earlier, when she's like, "I'm perfectly capable of flying on this cat mission, and you're not even talking to me, and I'm totally qualified."
I'm going to walk here and two and then fro and back. And
Yeah.
she's giving the captain shit.
Yeah, she's totally giving everybody crap, and they're like, "Okay, sure, go on out, because we love you. Go ahead." So yeah, she's my favorite. And then I think Delenn is really interesting, but I don't know enough about her to make enough of a judgment to say that she's my favorite character. She seems very sweet, but I don't understand her motivations at all.
That's what I love about her. She's very mysterious, and if anything, she would be that whole arc, with her and the commander and their past, that with the hole in his mind and what's going to happen with the chrysalis. If I were going to continue on, I would follow that arc, those specific episodes, because she's mysterious, and I find that very compelling.
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
Overall, I mean, what I like about the show is that they were able to be successful not being like a Lucas or a Roddenberry franchise,
that's a good
but
point.
taking aspects from both of them, and even actors, and bringing in the things that people liked from that.
Right.
And that was what initially drew me to the show. It's okay. Some of the fighters look like X-wings.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
Yeah.
It's obvious, but it was. I mean, they got to do a little bit more. The graphics we were talking about were We're kind
Yeah.
of what people are doing in web series now. But
Right,
it's,
right.
you get nostalgic when you look back on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's...
I don't. I
No.
thought
No?
they looked bad.
Wait.
I spent many a Saturday
Who
afternoon
was just
watching
talking
stuff.
about Star Trek and not...
I don't get nostalgic about it.
You don't get nostalgic about anything.
I don't.
The original. That's the middle ones.
Yeah.
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 Well, we're almost to the point where people get nostalgic about it.
Well, yeah.
I do. I saw the video of how Riker sits.
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
No, I found out today that my friend Beverly was named after Beverly Crusher, and I was like, you're young enough.
Wow.
And
Right.
that show is old enough that, wow. That's
I mean,
not nostalgic, you guys.
look at all the conflict that was in Babylon 5 and what they did with the new series of Battlestar. And the stuff that mirrors that, there's more conflict in those two than you'd see in an entire season of Star Trek.
Well, yeah. Because the name of the place is Babylon 5. They're not going out to boldly go where no man has gone before.
And just fiddle.
Yeah.
No, and find
One
anomalies.
in the next generation. It changes to no one in
Well,
the next generation.
yes, it is. True. But it's still the name of the place is
The
Babylon
future
5.
where everybody
The
is
whole time.
PC.
Yes,
liked
that's
about-
true. Everyone's a little too PC.
But the thing I liked about Star Trek, and I wasn't a fan of with Babylon 5, was that in Star Trek they were exploring. They all wanted to be there. They all loved it. They were the flagship of the fleet. And so I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of conflict, where on Babylon 5, like, it's just like this crappy post, and they went through like the bottom of the list to find a commander.
All the other ones disappeared.
and all the
Yeah.
other ones disappeared.
But how do you tell a good story without conflict? I mean, there's no money
true
in
enough.
Star Trek. Everybody was like, hey, we're not doing anything. And they had to bring in the Borg to just stir things up. But Babylon 5, everybody on that station hates each other.
Well,
I would
that's
agree with you. There's a, if you're a fan of BSG, it's much more that kind of an environment.
It's like a space
where there's
station of
a
college
lot of-
roommates.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
great
Oh,
description.
with the,
Earlier,
with the maturity level of college roommates too.
well, and earlier, when Dan and I were talking, I said it's like it's a giant daycare center. It seems like it's just a big daycare center for like the ambassadors for all of the different worlds that we're trying to be friends with. Yeah, stop arguing over that plant. Share.
I mean, in comparison, is their view of how politicians act any different from the way they're acting now?
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
They get more done on Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did anyone have episodes that they did enjoy?
Well, that's one of the things that Sarah kind of touched on. Is one of the episodes I really enjoyed. And the first season was the one where all of the different races are presenting some of the big religious ceremonies from their cultures, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the show overall is how they approach religion, and they actually take it head on, and that's one of the first episodes where they really do that.
And networks hate that. They tiptoe around that like it's the plague.
Well, but I mean, it's kind of weird that they do that though, because what I think is the History Channel this past Christmas did they did the Bible, and they had like record numbers of viewers because I mean there are a lot
Obama
of
devil, right?
Yeah, with the Obama devil.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
You didn't watch it?
No, I don't get cable.
Veering.
But I mean, it's a topic that people want to talk about, and Babylon really took it head on, and that was one of the episodes I really enjoyed. And actually, at the end, when he had the long line of every religious organization on Earth, I actually got a little bit misty because I was like, that really is us. Like, we're a planet full of conflict, and because we all have these differing views. But then an episode that I didn't like for the same reasons was the one with what is the doctor's name?
Oh god. Franklin.
I
Yeah,
wrote it
Stephen.
I wrote
Stephen
it down.
I've got it. Yeah. So when Dr.
this one.
Franklin,
Dr. Franklin.
Yeah.
he has that family, and the son has like a tumor in his chest.
I cried.
I got so angry at him because
cried.
when the situation came up, I was like, yes, he's going to see this as a great opportunity to do science and like do research and find a new way to cure this thing. And his approach to it was, I'm a surgeon. I'm going to cut this kid open, and I don't care what you say. And that
was another one where the commander overlooked,
Yes.
the doctor directly disobeyed an order. And
he did,
nothing
and
happened to
he
him.
didn't just disobey an order. He went against people's personal beliefs, which you would think on a station like Babylon 5, where they're trying to teach one another about their religions and live in peace, for him to deliberately go against their religious beliefs was...
I was
Well, he
rooting
did
for
kind of
him to do that,
half-ass
though.
it in the beginning. He tried to give the kid medication.
Which is
first
why
to have
I
him come
thought...
around.
Which is why I thought he's like, oh, I'm going to do science and I'm going to do research and I'm going to find a new way. Like, we're gonna make something different happen. And instead, they took what could have been a really cool situation. I thought they'd turn him into a boring surgeon character who just always has to have his way and always has to be super stubborn.
Do you know any surgeons?
Yes,
Because
because that's what they're like.
That is what
they're like. I
And
was
this guy only
hoping...
had 42 minutes, so you got to cut him
Exactly.
a
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So-
we have to move the plot along.
On that point, that same episode, I took a lot of notes because that one, it stirred up a lot of emotion in me.
I cried.
There was okay. So somebody says
We're crying about
if
a
one
show some of
religion
us
is
don't even
right,
like.
maybe they're all right.
Commander, those parents are willing to see their son die because of their religion. Now, you can't expect me to sit here and do nothing. May God save us from false religion.
What makes a religion false? If any religion is right, then maybe they all have to be right. Maybe God doesn't care how you say your prayers, just as long as you say them.
What if there's no God at all?
Is that what you believe?
I believe in saving lives. Without life, the question is meaningless.
You know, while I was really enjoying the exploration of all the different religions, they really, really pissed me off by backing away from the exploration of atheism in that episode.
Well, but he did it. He believed in science. That was his response, was I believe in science. Which is why he should have been using science to find a cure for this kid instead of cutting him open. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and the thing is, though, is that sometimes there's not a cure.
But,
Right.
but did
That
he...
goes with their religion,
But
so-
did he try to find one?
I don't think he had time.
To me, it was more of
Yeah.
a Jehovah's Witness kind of a situation.
Yeah,
go
but
ahead.
just look at today's, or within the last year, they're prosecuting a group of Christian scientists for letting their child die after they let another one previously die before them. This is real world stuff that happens
Yeah, absolutely.
today, and who's to say that that isn't going to happen
No, I
500
agree
years
with
in the
you.
future?
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a
I
great
cried.
point.
I'm the one who cried.
I did cry not on that one.
And they kind of took what Law and Order SVU does, where they rip stuff from the headlines. They were able to work it into a sci-fi format, and I liked it because I found that it worked. They were able to. I mean, you change it slightly with a species, and they had tons of them on the show, and you're able to manipulate it so you got an audience that's like, oh, you're seeing it from a different point of view completely. So,
Right.
Well, that's like the whole Star Trek thing, half black, half white, half black.
yeah, Klingon.
Half Klingon, yeah. but I think they're addressing things a little bit more head on.
Yeah.
Which is it's really nice. I actually enjoy that about the show. So, what else do you guys think about the show?
The makeup was way better on the aliens than on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
yeah.
I remember just even back then, just not being impressed at all. Like, really, this is like the forefront of makeup technology. And on these ones, I was really impressed. I looking back, you think like, oh, look at those cheesy effects. We've got stuff that's so much better now. I looked back at that makeup and I was like, that is like quality makeup, even looking at it with today's eyes.
And the variety of wardrobe.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, dare I say the wardrobe is better than what was on Star Trek at the time. Like
Everything's
especially
not pantsuits.
Yeah. I mean, and the civilian wardrobe was just embarrassing on Star Trek. Like, that's one of the reasons, like, when I watch the episodes, I'm like, oh my God. Like,
They had a mix of religious garb, like stuff out of the 20s. You
Yeah.
had, like blue collar stuff.
people actually
mixed
had
in
a
there.
sense of style.
Yeah.
So, what about that? One of the episodes that I was thinking about is the one with the Psychor woman. I can't remember the character's name.
Talia Winters.
Winters.
Talia, yes. And her, again, one of the characters has a boyfriend or a lover that comes from the right, and he's the guy who then turns into a god or something like that.
Yeah.
Whole episode I was watching, I was like, I do not understand what is happening right now.
Oh, I loved that
don't get this
episode.
episode at all.
I thought that was a really interesting episode.
Psychor messed with his
Really?
head
Yeah.
and manipulated
I was
him
like, what
to.
is happening right now?
They, advanced him genetically, and he became the 2001 baby. Now he's watching over the world.
Watching over the world.
Yeah.
Comfort her when she's
Yeah.
ready.
Yes,
Yeah.
from you. All of these
Boy.
worlds are yours.
Yes. Yeah, that episode killed me.
I liked it.
I know.
I don't know. I that was one of the things That was one of the episodes I really enjoyed as far as the psychic stuff went, and then every other episode after that, whenever psychic stuff came up, I was like, oh, this is so boring. I wanted to know more about, like, she's supposed to be a telepath. Like, she's supposed to be, like, telekinetic now and can move stuff with her mind, and she hasn't done
She couldn't
that.
handle it so well.
Does she do that later on?
She
Yeah,
can.
does the
Yes,
character...
back to it.
Nobody handles their side. Like, I mean, okay, so she makes such a big deal about how Psychor, like, everybody goes through so much training and this and that. And, like, every situation she gets put into is taxing her. Like, don't
She's
you think...
only a P5, though. She's, like, mid-grade.
Whatever.
Walter Koenig.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
What
like,
was his level
everything
10?
is just, like, she's like,
12.
like, she had, like,
That's-
and her red lipstick was, like, I was just like, that's...
It's the future.
There are a lot of people
To
that,
me,
like...
she was like,
yeah.
she was like,
My comment
name?
about her
It's like
character was, and
angry
sorry for
Captain.
anyone that's a fan.
Another problem I had with the psychics was none of them could keep their mouths shut. You would think with all of their training on how to use their psychic abilities and how not to use them, that when they did pick up on something, they would have the tact to just, oh, okay, instead of, you're thinking about this right now.
But the audience is a mind reader.
Yes,
So they have
we
to
have
tell us
to,
what they're
they have
finding
to tell
out.
us. Yeah.
It's like when you're typing
Yeah.
on a computer and you say, "Hi, Bob. Yes, we're meeting at the store tomorrow." It's
There
the
were-
same thing.
Yeah, and there was a lot of writing like that I found really lazy, where there was just a lot of exposition that they could have done in a little bit more creative way than you're thinking about so-and-so right now. That just got under my skin. I was not a fan of the writing at all.
Yeah. Well, as I just said to you, to me the comparison is, he's angry, Captain.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
true.
Thank you.
That's
for
true.
that. It's not obvious that he's angry.
Because you can't
I
act.
needed you to tell
You
me
have
that.
to tell me.
After the ship gets caught in the neural web,
Right.
people are nervous.
Exactly.
Nobody's mentioned Garibaldi yet.
Yeah,
I did. Kind of, when he punched out that guy for making
Yeah.
fun of people from Mars.
And then there's the Kumatai episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pay
Nobody
much
liked that he
attention
was a
to
fan
that.
of Duck Dodgers.
Uh,
No?
Whatever.
You can all go to hell.
Then there was
Don't worry about the lipstick.
well,
Dodgers fan.
and Dan and I talked about this earlier too. Was there's that episode late in the season where he and the commander are like sitting in a shuttle and they're like just stuck there.
Oh, yeah.
For like hours, and he starts
guy
having
talk.
total dude talk, and I love it. So he's like, "So do you zip and then button, or button and then zip?" And the commander's like, "We're not having this conversation." And I was like, "Yes, have that conversation. I want to like start having that conversation because those are the kind of character interactions that really tell you about a character." And that was like the first time that I was like, "That's Garibaldi.
humanizing.
Like,
Right.
that's who that guy is. He's a bro, and I love him for it."
Funny.
And oddly enough, in real life, he was actually married to the actress who played Winters
Really?
2 years.
Interesting.
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
Well, going back to Winters, she's
Which
like
one was that?
useless.
Exactly.
Did she
Tell
do
me what
more
Troy
later?
did that Winters didn't do.
Well, no, nothing.
Exactly.
Troy was just as useless too,
Well,
but she was pretty. So was Talia. Talia's pretty.
Sexist.
Yeah, she was, yeah, true enough.
Someone for the ladies to look at, because that's all we care about, apparently.
are judging other women.
Yes,
Yes.
we've got to be catty and gossip about what they're wearing.
So we had a lot of female characters on this show? Did
there are
they
a lot
pass
of
the
female
Bechdel
characters.
test? Oh, in that first episode, that I've got a lot of
Yes.
things to do, and they're all because
Annoying.
Annoying.
They're all
Yeah,
annoying.
they're all
They
annoying.
should get past
so
the
the Bechdel test, for those of you who don't know, is let's see,
You have to have.
you have to have more than one female character.
They have to talk to each
They
other.
have to talk to each
They
other,
can't talk about boys.
but they can't be talking about a man.
Mm.
And it doesn't even.
Have a name.
And
Yeah,
yes,
they have to have a
a name.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, thank you. And it can't be like any man at all. It can't be, a son, a father, not
Right.
just
A
that they're not
boyfriend,
talking
right.
about a love interest, because that's what a lot of, women characters do in popular culture. They only exist to talk about love interests. But so it's not just that they don't talk about a male love interest. They don't talk about a son, a father,
Right.
any man at all.
A boy, a male person with a male perspective.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But yeah, there are a lot of female characters.
Yeah.
The cast is still fairly pasty, though.
Yeah. Except, isn't Winters guy who becomes the...
Well, yes, he's African, and the doctor is also African American, but he's not in every episode.
The Asian, the girlfriend's Asian.
Yeah, and the girlfriend's Asian. She's in 3.
Is Asian.
Not
no,
the Asian.
Yeah, she was, but then they got rid of her.
Thank God. So one of the things we do on Educating Geeks, if you haven't listened to us formerly, is we like the alcohol. And so we...
This is water, though, I promise.
Yeah.
It came from here. We asked,
whatever, Sarah.
but they couldn't put anything but water in there.
So we come up with drinking rules for while you're watching a show or a movie or a film. So we have drinking game rules, essentially, for Battlestar Galactica, for Buffy, for
Fringe.
And
then some upcoming episodes, too.
Yeah. So one of the things we do to end the show is to come up with drinking game rules on the show. I had a really hard time with this one, I must say.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I guess I always write mine while I'm watching the episodes. Like, if I see one, I'm, like, writing it down right now.
So you guys can jump in.
Yeah, if you have any rules.
So my drinking game rules are shotgun your beer the one time per episode when the commander lets somebody off. Get away with some egregious offense. It only happens like once per episode, so it's not like you can take a drink, or a shot or whatever. You have to shotgun your beer.
I put that you should take a drink anytime you're reminded that Ivanova is Russian. Because I can't count how many times in the first season they're like, she's Russian. Did you know that she's Russian? She's Russian, guys. I don't know if you knew this, but she's Russian.
Mine you would go through an entire case anytime Malari yells at somebody.
I had one that take a drink every time Malari and Gakar get into an argument.
Yeah.
What about you, Alice? What's one of yours?
I had it on the tip of my tongue and I forgot. It was the one I told you earlier.
Oh, we mentioned it. I told you to write it down.
Damn it. I gave you a pen. Damn it. Do not write it down. I gave you a pen.
Does anybody
while
remember?
You're thinking, all right. Drink when someone uses fatigue to explain something happening to them that they should bring to somebody else's attention. Like the psychic and the VCR dude. And, so Delenn, I called her the cross-eyed German lady.
I think
that's Rousseau from Lost.
Isn't she Czechoslovakian or something?
Her accent sounded vaguely German to
accent.
me, and her little nose thing, like from certain angles, it blocked like the whites of her eyes, so it looked like they were cross-eyed.
But she's kind of like that already, because that was one of the things that was really interesting to me about her on Lost. Is she's always kind of cross-eyed, like kind of looking like that. I think that's just kind of.
I thought that was.
That's just kind of how she is. Yeah.
Okay, so I wrote German lady and gray triangle. I can't remember. Oh, when there was like the
on her forehead,
some gray triangle nearby, and she was like, "Oh," and then
it was
what's
just
the
cold
matter?
in the room.
Oh, I'm just tired.
I'm just tired. I'm fatigued.
Yeah.
There's one you can do whenever somebody starts a sentence with all due respect.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That would be good
Also,
on any
jump
military
gate
show.
Opening.
Oh,
Jump.
yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Jump gate opening. Good
That's
suggestion.
Stargate opening. You'd drink quite a bit. That's a good one. I wrote down, take a drink anytime someone mentions Mars Colony. Because it seems like someone's always screaming about Mars Colony.
Mars Colony. And then that one episode, whoo!
Oh, yeah.
You'd be under the table.
Yeah. It'd be a good episode. Okay. Good to know. Do you guys have any other good drinking game
Every
ideas?
time someone's about to leave and they stop and turn around to say some last thing, or someone stops them from leaving to say something.
Oh, that's just good in all dramas.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm leaving, but I got something to say.
One last word for you. That's a good one.
Garibaldi, whenever he says he wants to tell somebody about his favorite thing in the universe.
Oh, God.
Yeah, when he's like creepily picking up on someone, but not really creepily picking up on someone.
I thought that was one of the things I didn't like about his character, is that his favorite thing is the Looney Tunes.
They have in that year, Looney Tunes is still around.
No, yeah.
It's an antique.
And it is, and there's nothing wrong with Looney Tunes,
You
but
could have taken her back to watch porn.
I
It's
thought
cartoons.
I thought it would have been something slightly more sophisticated. Although this is the guy that wants to know if you zip and then button, so
Yeah,
maybe
it
that's
totally
consistent
fits.
for his character.
Right. Yeah.
He's like Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies. He has a 6th grade education. That's all I needed.
I have a question for you, Dan.
Uh-oh.
In the episode when the doctor's like former professor or mentor or something came on board with that other dude and like that biological machiney thing that took over him with the like blue sparks and whatever. Do you remember that one?
Slightly. It's been a little while.
Okay, I tweeted at that time, did I sense a homoerotic eyebrow raise from the doctor to the MacGyver-looking grad student? And, like, some random person, like, favorited it. I don't know if that's, like, Twitter spam or if they're, like, I don't know what that is. But somebody favorited it, I think, and you retweeted it. And I was like, oh. So, do they...
I don't think I follow you on Twitter.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
at Cat Ladybug. So, I expect some new followers tonight, and especially after this episode airs.
So,
but
do you want
anyway,
to know if I can identify a homoerotic eyebrow lift?
was I right in suspecting that because there was this like look like Alice and I are very good
I
at
think
this
it was
look.
just probably some off-Broadway acting.
But no, it was like specifically a reaction shot, like him act like with the eyebrow look, and him then the MacGyver-looking grad student like reacting back. So they didn't develop his character in that direction at all.
Franklin has more girlfriends than anybody else in the entire series.
Oh, okay. Well, I kind of got a similar feeling about a scene between Ivanova and Winters. I was
You guys
like,
writing fan fiction?
No. I was like, these could be really good girlfriends here.
Could be we could do a whole spin-off show of our own.
Yeah, we could.
It's like Cagney and Lacey in space.
All right, I think I had a couple other questions. Let me see if I can find them in my notes.
Does anybody else want to say anything?
About the eyebrow?
I know which part you're talking about.
You guys throw in what's her face from Deep Space Nine?
What?
Dax?
Dax.
Terry Farrell.
Is she on the show?
Was she on it?
What season did she come on?
I think he's doing some cross-genre.
Oh, that's for our slash fiction. Yes. I was like, she's on the show?
You're going to write fan fiction. You might as well
Make it really interesting, right? Yeah.
Let's just get all the hot women together.
Oh, I want to go to Happy Days.
Happy Days. It's the bar.
Yeah.
What a great name to like sneak in there on the wall. Happy Days.
Happy Days.
I want to go there. It also looked like a great
D-A-Z-E.
dive. Yes,
Yeah.
it looked like an awesome dive bar. I would love to go play the drinking game at Happy Days.
Happy
That's
Days.
right.
So should we keep watching?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Should we stick
Why?
It gets better.
Because the second season on is where the real plot starts.
Yeah.
And that first season is definitely Monster of the Week for a lot of it. After that, you really get maybe 2 or 3 episodes the entire season that are really Monster of the Week. And even those, you come to find out later on,
That they're
stuff
important.
that happened during those Monster of the Week episodes impacts stuff in season 4
Mhm.
and season 5.
A lot of foreshadowing.
Where all of a sudden you realize that all of the series had impact on itself. So that when you go back and watch it again later, or like a second or a third time through, you're going, oh my God, I totally missed that.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot actually from people who really enjoy the show. That
second
it's
season's-
very rich and deep.
The second season's still pretty cheesy and stuff, not as bad as the first season. And then the third season is absolutely great.
Yeah.
Third season?
It's the end of the
Yeah,
first
it's
and the
happening
second.
now at the end of the first season because she's in the chrysalis. That's the season finale.
That's about the time they actually do like the Captain Pike deal to Sinclair too.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
Random.
yeah.
Obscure reference.
So, what is everybody's favorite season? Season 3 is yours, clearly.
Yeah, I'd say 3 really is overall the best.
4.
We've
We
got
get a couple votes for 4.
I have to say it's 5.
5.
I never hear what happens after happy ever after. Season 5 is what happens after the consequences when all the drama ends, and the characters have to then go on with what they had done.
Okay, that's always interesting stuff to
So,
me.
did anyone watch any of the spin-offs?
Crusade.
All
of them.
Wow.
I didn't even know there were spin-offs.
Yeah, there's like 3 spin-offs, 2 spin-offs. How many?
Crusade, Legend of the Rangers, which had one thing, and The Lost Tales, which had one thing. Crusade had 13 episodes.
Okay.
Crusade had 13 episodes.
So they were each like a season?
No.
Like a half season is like 13 episodes.
Okay.
No, yeah.
It was an attempt at a pilot. It wasn't even a miniseries.
Yeah, it was like a movie.
It was a movie.
It's
It
a
was an
movie.
attempt at a pilot, but it went nowhere.
So
They have,
what?
like what, 27 books also that go along?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I know a
The
lot of
author's
people who
actually
are
here
into
this
the
weekend,
books.
too.
Okay. So try as little spoilers as possible. What's like the big thing that we have to look forward to if we keep watching?
The Shadows.
The Shadows.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
It's like unanimous.
That's very ominous.
There's a point in the second season where things get Nard and Centauri.
That's great.
Yeah.
Their massacres are just get so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wrote was that Kakar is like boring.
As it goes on.
In the first season, he's very boring.
The best characters when it's
Yes.
I
That's what I've
know
heard, actually, yeah.
I know he's one of the more popular.
If you want to get a feel for how much the series improves without spoiling a lot of the arc, jump forward to the episode Passing Through Gethsemane,
Yeah.
season 3.
Passing Through Gethsemane, season 3.
That one's great.
Okay.
It's brilliant, but it doesn't require that you know the whole arc leading up to it. It doesn't really spoil anything
Right.
Yeah.
further.
Well, and that's one of the things that
Awesome.
we
Thank
were
you for the
talking about
recommendation.
doing is maybe finding some key episodes to take a look at and see if we want to continue. Kind of get a little bit better sense of the show as it aged and went forward. But we'll definitely check that one out.
Yeah, thank
Passing
you.
Through Gethsemane is
Okay.
maybe like one of the best episodes to start with because it hints at so much but doesn't spoil anything. Has a nice independent story with itself.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I think we'd just like to say thank you to everybody for coming tonight. We do have another panel that we're going to be doing for Educating Geeks. It will be tomorrow at noon, correct?
Yes.
We'll be in room 129B, and we'll be talking about American Horror Story Asylum. And again, we're going to be recording live, so if any of you guys are interested in that, we'd love to have you join us then. And then if you're interested in continuing to, we're going to be publishing this episode online. Fingers crossed the audio comes out good.
Right.
But you can follow us online. We have our website, educatinggeeks.wordpress.com. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/educatinggeeks, or you can just search for us. And our Twitter is @educatinggeeks. And yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys are kind of convincing me to keep watching. What about you guys?
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
It gets better.
It gets better. That's like the theme for Babylon 5 is it gets better.
Give it another 10 years
Sure,
and
Dan
sci-fi will
Savage
bring it
wants
back.
us to
That's a good
reappropriate
point.
because better for science fiction. That's like 20
Yeah,
years
that's what I
old.
was thinking too.
About next gen, but look at it Encounter at Farpoint, how stiff and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were then.
Yeah,
That whole
I
first
know.
season is still very much standing and talking.
The galactic cheerleader outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the original Star Trek captain, the ship can't do this because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And suddenly the ship does it. That stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you gotta sort of take this stuff with a light grade. So.
It was easier to do when I was like 13, 14. Now that I'm like 34,
God.
it's a lot harder to do. Now that I'm a more sophisticated TV viewer.
Well,
Some
and-
people would just call that bitter.
I resemble that remark,
Well, while we still have a room full of Babylon 5 fans, what things are you guys going to Babylon 5 related at the con? Is there stuff we should be checking out? Like, what's the thing everyone's the most excited for?
Like, besides the like guest
The cast,
appearances,
yeah.
like what panels are you looking forward to?
Points of departure, okay.
Walter
Sweet.
Koenig's thing and just the whole cast.
Is there a lot more of him as the season,
Yeah.
as the
Yeah,
series
yeah.
goes?
Shows up more and more as the show goes on.
Okay.
I like to see something where he says more than 3 lines.
Yeah.
12
It's-
episodes of the entire show. But
Yeah, I mean, the episode that he was in, it was very much him just staring
I mean,
and using his psychic
hard.
powers.
And it gets
Yes.
more into him. It humanizes him more, so you find out what motivates him and such.
That's always the meat.
yes.
We should have had you on as our guest educator. You're awesome.
Is that you trying to get back at
There's a
Dan?
whole series of good books on him, too.
Oh, the cycle of
Yeah.
trilogy.
Oh, is there?
Oh,
Okay.
It's awesome.
Did you
Cool.
catch his name? Alfred Bester?
No.
No.
Huh.
The old science
I'm bad
fiction
at
writer who
names.
wrote The Demolished Man.
Oh, okay.
Telepathic police.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Did anybody that watched it, like, as it aired, like, squee their pants when you saw Walter Koenig?
Koenig.
Kind of.
I got into it while the mid-season was airing.
What I found amazing about it was because Walter had been so typecast as Chekhov.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
What turns out to be this wonderfully meaty villain role.
It was a very different character right from the get-go, and that was one of the things I liked about it. I mean, you can really see his acting chops come out. I love it when you can really see an actor doing something so completely different than they've done before and just owning it and just completely breaking from the typecast. And I thought that immediately when he came on screen, I was like, that's not Chekhov.
Yeah.
Anatomically impossible, Mr. Gillibo.
Perfect.
Oh, I do have to give it orale to the. There was a character in the union strike, like the dog accident.
That was a great episode.
There was
like
a
that
Hispanic
episode,
character, and he like had a Hispanic name, and he spoke Spanish, and I was like, Marissa.
You know what I
Raza.
almost tweeted though was good to know the Mexicans are still doing the hard labor. Is that the only thing Mexicans are good for? It's like, come on, like
Even in 23:45.
Can we put them on the bridge, please?
If you're going by Futurama standards, it's the Australians.
Good point, Dan. Good point.
But yeah, it was nice to see a Hispanic character, but it was a little disappointing to see where they were cast or where they were placed.
Well, but isn't it President Santiago?
Yes,
That's true. That's true. That's a great
And that's my last
Spoiler,
name,
they
which
kill
was
him.
freaking me
Well,
out.
we just saw that.
Santiago, and I'm like,
Yeah, that happens in season
wow.
1. Yeah.
That was freaky. I think I tweeted that too.
Yes, you did.
I didn't
And
write
something
it in my
about his
notes.
chin.
Oh, yes, that was a
one
great
thing
Doesn't
like
have
his chin.
That's one of her
doesn't have a
great
strong
lines.
chin and one has
Yes.
too many.
That whole little mini speech that she gives is brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's before Bush and Cheney.
Ooh, snap.
Right.
Snap, Dan.
Yes. All right.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming,
all for
guys.
coming.
Thank you.
We hope to see you soon.